What else can you say about a young Mexican man with tattoos and a criminal record? But as we all know, fate had a very different outcome. The story of his rise to fame is well known, but not everyone knows how far he fell into the abyss and how far he managed to get out of it. Hello, friends. You are back on the Dark Side of Glory channel. Before watching, don't forget to subscribe and click like. Danny Trejo's gateway to the world of crime. The future actor was born in California in the most ordinary family of Mexican origin. Thanks to his uncle Gilbert, Danny quickly gained a reputation as a vicious bully. Gilbert did not hesitate to actively involve young Danny in his dark deeds. At the age of 8, Danny began to use marijuana, then heroin, and by the age of 12 has already attracted the attention of the police for the brutal beating of a classmate. But that didn't stop him. Danny Trejo. Uncle Gilbert taught me the most important thing. It was my choice to beat myself. At the same time, he himself never said he was tough. It was more like he was crazy. Danny Trejo. There were a lot of tough guys in our neighborhood, and they had guns. But remember, it's not the tough guys that people are afraid of. It's the crazy guys. That's exactly the path he chose. At 18, during a domestic dispute, he hit a sailor with a broken bottle. In his 20s, he committed 5 armed robberies, including one that involved the threat of a grenade. Eventually, he was arrested for drug dealing. He was actually trying to sell a bag of powdered sugar to a factory agent. That's when old crimes began to haunt him again. So after his crimes, Danny was sentenced to 10 years in the brutal San Quentin prison. Life in prison. It's worth saying that Danny already had a reputation among the locals. On top of that, he decided to enter the prison boxing ring. Danny Trejo said, "I had a broken nose from the age of 8, and from the age of 13, my uncle made me box. I knew exactly how to fight." Danny became a lightweight boxing champion at San Quentin, Folsom, and Soledad prisons. Life in San Quentin prison. Interestingly, his famous tattoo was done in a different prison. The tattoo was started by an inmate named Harry Super Everyone Ross, but because Danny was frequently transferred from prison to prison, he couldn't get the whole tattoo done at one time. It had to be finished each time the two men encountered each other in the same prison. Boxing didn't make Danny a model athlete. As the head of a small gang, he extorted money from defenseless prisoners and continued to present his defense. No one wanted to testify against him because of his brutality and authority. That's how his incarceration continued, until a riot broke out. Let's find out what happened right in front of the inmates. In 1968, Danny was in Soledad prison. He was playing baseball with a group of inmates when a police officer jumped up to him and tried to detain one of them. Then, in the midst of the commotion, Danny threw a rock at the police officers, hitting one of them in the head and severely injuring him. Danny was arrested and placed in a cell. Danny Trejo said at the time, "I wasn't aiming at the cops, I just threw the rock in their direction." That's when all hell broke loose. The cell was horrible. At this time, he was about to be gassed for rioting and trying to kill a policeman. Danny Trejo said, "The previous inmate had shit written on the wall. He said, 'God is an asshole.' I felt like I was going straight to hell. For the first time in my life, I started praying hard. God, if there is a God, let everything be okay." At trial, the charges against him were dismissed, but only because the aggrieved officer did not charge Trejo directly. Otherwise, the death sentence would have been finalized. But Danny had changed his mind. He wanted to change his life. He said, I remember a moment when I thought I wasn't a person anymore. I was in prison and I was playing dominoes. I had money, so I took all five. And then, bang, bang, the guy in front of me got stabbed several times, fell on the table, and died. And I thought, wait a minute, look at this combination. And I took the bone, and I went to the camera. And somewhere in my head, I had a thought. What kind of animal am I becoming? Way from the bottom. Danny Trejo took the first and most important step of his life. He quit drinking and drugs. He joined the International Society for the Prevention of Alcoholism and Drug Abuse, Anonymous, and participated in the 12 Steps to Quitting Drugs program. Since then, he has not returned to drug addiction again. Life after his incarceration was not easy. He had to work several part-time jobs, but he stopped living like a criminal. Moreover, he actively helped many young addicts on their way to quitting drugs. And so, one of them, working on a movie set in Hollywood, called Danny and asked for help and support, afraid to snap. Further events are already widely known. First, he played small roles, then full-fledged, usually various villains and gangsters. He also became a record holder for the number of deaths on the screen, 65. An important movie for Trejo was Blood Pays Blood, which was filmed in the familiar San Quentin prison. Contrary to popular belief, the key moment in the Hollywood fate of Danny played not Andrei Konchalovsky. He was impressed by Trejo's looks and career, but for the first time his attention was attracted by a completely different person. Danny Trejo recounted, "I was cleaning up the set with the masses, and I was approached by a guy who said, 'I remember you fighting in the ring at San Quentin. I remember you fighting in the ring at San Quentin.' We were in San Quentin together." Eddie Bunker is a Hollywood actor, screenwriter, and writer. He is best known to many for his role as Mr. Blue in Tarantino's Mad Dogs. Less well known is that he himself is an ex-convict and a hopeless criminal. He is also the main character in another article. Everything else is already widely known. Danny started training with Eric Roberts and got his first cameo. After that, the colorful Mexican became interested in many other projects, mostly small roles. I was always asked if I was not afraid of being stuck in one role, playing an evil Mexican gangster. So I became an evil Mexican gangster. After being discovered by Robert Rodriguez, his career took off and he became known to audiences through the movie Desperado. More recently, he played the lead role in the movie Machete. Director Robert Rodriguez continued to use his new actor in other movies as well. The most famous are the role in Machete and unexpectedly successful game in the series Children of Spies and the movie Air Prison. What a cast! He was nominated for 2 Academy Awards. On set, Trejo advised Nicolas Cage on how to behave with real prisoners and other actors in Zhikov Chips to make the role of a prisoner look more organic. To date, he has appeared in over 300 movies. While continuing to star in movies, he is actively growing his fast food business, Trejo's Tacos. Danny has also never once considered himself a celebrity. He continues to live in the house where his family lives and invests heavily in the development of the neighborhood. He is also known as a philanthropist. He actively organizes meetings with particularly troubled youth, communicates with inmates in prisons, and sponsors a fund to fight alcoholism. Undoubtedly, happy accidents played a role in his success story. But the real first step on the way to this happy accident was Danny's own step to get rid of his addiction. How hard do you think it is to take that step? Subscribe to the channel and share your opinion in the comments.